Welcome once again to this channel, friends. Today we are going to know a story that from beginning to end is really amazing. Every second is worth it, and I suggest you don't move until the end. Not only because imagining yourself in this situation and in this place will give you goosebumps, but it will impress you. To know the why, apparently, of all this that manifests in this place, and it will answer some of the many questions that may arise. And I remind you that if you are thinking about having something exclusive from the channel, this is your moment. Request the catalog from the WhatsApp number shown on the screen now, because the store from May 22nd will be suspended and we will not take orders until further notice. So all orders that come in from today until May 22nd will be delivered. And after this date, we will not take orders until further notice. We don't know until when. You can request the catalog without any commitment through the WhatsApp number displayed on the screen. Check out the products. If interested, place your order by May 22nd. Remember, you can also send your paranormal experience to the WhatsApp number displayed on the screen, which is different from the store's number. You can send me audios, as many as you want, and of any duration you want. You can add photos, videos, or any material you think is appropriate to make your story as complete as possible. Then, if it is selected and I have any doubts, I will be contacting you. Friends, now we won't waste any more time and we'll start with this story right away. And don't move until the end because it's really worth it. My name is Leonel and I want to tell you something that happened to us a few months ago, exactly in November of 2024, while we were on a fishing trip. I'm from Monroe, I'm 38 years old, and I've always liked fishing. Not just for the sake of fishing when you can, but the ritual of preparing everything, planning where to go, and then going on these outings with people you care about are unique things that are priceless. Even more so today. I don't just go on these outings with two friends as I usually do, but my son Joaquin and my father have also joined. In fact, he was the one who passed on to me that passion for fishing, nature, and also the outdoors. One detail is that we don't always go to the same place. We keep changing and getting to know others in order to enjoy as much as possible. But that time we had decided to repeat and go to a fishing spot near Ibicuy in the province of Entre Rios. In fact, we had reserved this place weeks in advance as you can't get there with your own vehicle. The owner of this fishing spot is the one who takes you across. He himself with his boat drops you off and then comes to pick you up the next day. I apologize, but I'm not going to mention either this gentleman's name or the specific place, as I have no intention of harming him. I imagine there might be someone who, after hearing this story, avoids this place out of fear or impression. The key is to listen to the message, regardless of the source's location. Happened to us. And not only that, I'm also going to tell you why something like this happens, or at least that's what is believed. The idea was to stay from Saturday to Sunday, so we left home. That Saturday morning, we arrived at Ibicuy, we left the car parked at this man's house, and we started the trip to the fishing spot. We already had all the fishing gear. We brought meat to eat, drinks, among several other things. Because even though it is still a fairly rustic place, it is quite well equipped to spend the day and night in a moderately comfortable way. We arrived around 10 in the morning. We settled in, threw some lines into the water, and started to prepare everything to eat something at noon. That time it was just my two friends, my father, and me. My son unfortunately couldn't make it. Without going into details that don't make sense. The afternoon went pretty well. Normal, you could say. We didn't have good fishing, but the day was nice around 6 in the afternoon. I don't remember exactly the time, but it was getting dark. That's when the bite started, the long-awaited bite. My old man was the one who caught the first fish, and from there we didn't stop catching one after the other. It was impressive, and anyone who knows about fishing will understand that it's a moment that can't be wasted. And this came in super handy because that same night we did what we had planned, grill some fish. The night promised not only to be good in terms of the weather being ideal, but also the fishing continued to be quite active. Luckily, so rest would be somewhat unimportant. Take a nap here and there and make the most of all the time at the fishing spot. My dad was the first one who, after 11 at night, went to bed. And it was he who made us realize something that complicated our night a bit. This place has a kind of shed where there are 6 beds, a bunk bed, a bathroom, and a small table where you can eat or arrange things. There is also a refrigerator and a freezer for storage. The fish that you catch if you want to take them and not return them to the water. We return absolutely everything, with the obvious exception of what we ate on the grill. My old man was lying down, sleeping. My friends and I were on the shore, sitting in deck chairs, chatting a bit and paying attention to the rods. And suddenly, all that peace, that tranquility that was there, disappeared. I hear my dad, who desperately was shouting at us from the shed. We went there and found him at the door because he was just running out. What can I tell you about that moment? I saw him like never before. He had an impressive look of fear, and he told us that he woke up feeling someone had touched his leg. And I'm being honest, when we heard this, we laughed. We made jokes about him having drunk too much wine in secret, and that's why he was feeling anything. This was just a joke because he precisely can't have a drop of alcohol due to a liver problem he's had for a while. But beyond the laughter and everything, my old man remained serious and scared. He was alert and told us he wasn't messing around, he wasn't playing any jokes on us. Because when he opened his eyes, he not only felt that someone had touched him, but he found a kid looking at him while grabbing his leg. My dad told us that when he saw him, he got scared all at once, pulled his leg away because according to him, it felt as if something was burning him. And this kid ran into the little bathroom. He got up, went there, and panic overcame him at that moment because there was no one in the bathroom. This kid, just as he said, had disappeared. We just checked everything with the flashlights inside, outside, even behind this shed, and indeed, there was no one. In fact, no people live on this site, and we were in theory alone. The thing was that my old man couldn't sleep anymore. He stayed outside, sitting in a deck chair, and tried to fish to distract himself, but he was quite worried. And it was incredible to see him as he was. I had never seen him like that. He kept looking back at the shed, at the sides. He was convinced that this kid was around there. Or rather, I'm going to speak for myself. I thought it was just the imagination. He probably had a very, very lucid dream and imagined that all this was real. Even more so because he said that when this kid grabbed his leg, it burned him. I checked his leg and he had absolutely nothing. The early morning went on as usual and Franco, my friend, took a nap. It was likely around 12 antimeridiem not long after. A little while later, about 15 minutes later, I also left and lay down in one of the other beds. This is where everything changed. I woke up to a noise, and when I opened my eyes, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. I saw that next to me, in front of the bed where Franco was sleeping, there was a boy about 6 or 7 years old. The little dark-haired boy seemed to even be wet and quite dirty. He was standing completely still, looking at him. I adjusted myself in the bed very slowly to get a better look at him, and that's when, just like my old man said, this kid ran off seemingly scared, but not towards the bathroom. He ran outside. I yelled for someone to grab him, at least to know who he was, what he wanted, and where he came from. Because, as I told you, we were supposed to be completely alone in that place. At least that's what we understood. Just then, my friend Carlos enters and asks what's happening. I asked him if he was able to catch the kid, and he laughed and asked me what kid I was talking about. And to make clear how confusing this situation was, the kid runs out the door, I scream, and almost immediately Carlos comes in. So it was directly impossible for him not to have seen him, but he didn't. The most incredible thing about this was that all along I thought Franco was sleeping and hadn't seen anything, and it turned out that he didn't see the same thing I did. And according to him, when he made eye contact with this kid, he felt something horrible. He said he felt a lot of fear, but also desire to cry. And he couldn't move. He was like paralyzed. Obviously, my old man approached and looking us in the eyes told us that we had seen the same thing as him. In a way, I think he felt accompanied. None of us dared to sleep or even try, and it was incredible. Did anything happen after that? The 4 of us were outside, sitting and chatting, and we heard noise inside the shed. When we went in, we found that 2 of the beds were completely messed up, much more than they were before, and everything that was on the small table was now on the floor scattered. It could have perfectly been some animal that got in, but it was hard not to associate it with the same thing that had happened with N. Later, Franco was a few meters away. Keep in mind that there are more than 300 meters of free coast for fishing. We see him coming running. He had even left the rod thrown anywhere. According to him, while he was incarnating, he felt someone bump him from behind. And when he turns around, he sees this same kid running towards the trees while disappearing, according to him, merging with the darkness itself. I think that's when we realized it was something non-human. None of the 4 of us have any knowledge about these topics, but there was no other explanation. We had heard many stories and legends about the countryside and the rivers, mainly about the evil light, but in this case it was clearly something different. Finally, dawn came, we had breakfast, finished the day, and afternoon the owner of the place came with the boat to pick us up. During the return to the coast of Ibicuy, we told him about the good fishing we had had, and also about this fact that kept us alert all night. I can't explain to you the face this man made when we told him. It was my old man who told him. He usually, when he has something to say, he says it straight out, and so it was. This gentleman first said it was strange that there was no one in that place, but that maybe some kid from the area took the boat to bother or try to steal something. But my old man pushed him much more, detailing that it wasn't just any kid, that it wasn't even someone of flesh and blood. What had happened to us was very strange, and it would be good to know if something similar happened to anyone else. It was at that moment that this gentleman was honest and told us that indeed we were not the only ones. He doesn't know how many saw it, because surely it doesn't appear to everyone, and also many people don't dare to tell it out of embarrassment, but it's almost common. This child or his ghost, according to the man, appears every so often, always during the night, and does nothing more than attract attention, as if it were a game for him. And when we asked him if he knew anything about this child's history, the saddest thing is that apparently it's about a child who drowned with his dad in front of this fishing boat in a small boat accident. And perhaps the sad and curious thing is that only he is seen, the father was never seen. And some people also say that not only did they see him, but on different nights you can hear him laughing and also crying. In fact, a pastor went to this fisherman after learning about this situation to try to help him transcend, but apparently that's not what happened. I've heard many stories in the field and in the Delta, but I never thought I'd come across something like this, let alone experience it firsthand.